Hello, 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 and welcome to this afternoon's Free Coaching Friday. Yes, Ray Higdon. I am totally copying you because I think that there are some really brilliant things to say. Ray Higdon is a friend of mine that teaches a lot about sales and is an incredible human being, and he does something similar. So I do something, but mine isn't around wealth. Mine is about relationships. And one of the things that is important, I'm like kind of looking at my notes because I had actually have notes for today. But every Friday or most Fridays, I go live around the 1 o'clock hour, and sometimes I'm with a horse, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I am really scripted and like really polished and ready to go, and sometimes it's more like off the cuff and raw. So if you are joining me for the first time, please introduce yourself. I'd love to get to know you. And if you're been following me for a while, welcome back. But I'd love to see you like post a comment, even just say, hey Jen, good to see you, whatever, if you're watching, because what we're going to talk about today is about decisions. And there's so many books out there about it, but I'm just going to like really break it down that's like in such detailed simplicity that you'd be like, okay, if I follow this framework about decisions, step 1 do this, step 2 do this, step 3 do this, then I really won't make any wrong decisions ever again. Well, part of this is understanding that is really no such thing as a wrong decision. I really don't even hardly believe in mistakes, because it's either a gift and you win, or it's a gift and you learn. And I think it's one of the things I've always ascribed to when it comes to this, is that you can learn from your failures, and but you can't build on them. You can build on success, but you're not learning more contrast about like which way you should go, how you could improve, right? So we even and this comes down to patterns. And I even talk about this. It's like, I'm breaking a pattern. Even if a horse, like I always relate this back to horses, because horses are a pure mirror as to humans and how you are showing up. And if you ever come and work with me, in one of my masterminds or to one of my retreats, we talk about this a lot. And it's the pattern of how you're showing up. And even if the horse is doing a really good circle, we could break that pattern and do an even better one. So there's opportunities to build on success, but learn from failure. Either way, it's a win, right? And even at the gym, you guys that are, you workout people that are really, myself is one of them. It's like, do you go we go until failure, until our muscles are shaking and we're questioning our sanity. And as an entrepreneur, like I didn't really sign up to be an entrepreneur. To be totally honest, I was kind of like thrust off the cliff, and I had to make some tough decisions on the way down. But one of the things that kind of related to me when it comes to the decision making process is that these three things that really help you make hard decisions easy. One is lower your tolerance for pain. And what I mean by that is like, are you intentional? Are you conscious about your decisions? And the decision was easy is a phrase my friends and I talk about. It's like, how do we just walk into it and say, the decision was easy. I wanted chocolate, not vanilla, or I wanted strawberry instead of peach, or, oh, sorry, peach. I wanted, like, I'm going to adopt this horse. Right. And so gathering the information and making sure that it's in a conscious decision, like that's a first kind of easy gimme, right? Is this was a conscious decision. A lot of decisions that we make are not conscious. We are just allowing the monkeys to run the zoo. So that's like the first big piece. And something that's interesting about that when it comes to horses is their decisions are, depending on the personality of the horse, are conscious and unconscious, right? Are, coming from sort of that creative, the fight flight instinct, the instinctual side of the brain, or the intellectual side of the brain. And so when notice that the conversation is, yes, I know exactly what to do. Or is it coming from the instinctual or the intellectual side of your brain? And your personality takes in, is a huge piece of that. And then understanding, is it a pattern? Tony Robbins talks about pattern recognition, and he goes into it a little bit deeper, for this conversation. But I am the interrupter of patterns. Like, that is my biggest thing. I talked about it just a couple minutes ago. It's like, is the pattern something that we can improve upon, or is it a pattern we need to break? Because sometimes you need to deframe something, which means like kind of deconstruct it and say, look, this is a pattern that is no longer serving me. I need to make a decision and pivot right now. Right. And so some of those decisions, you need that deframe. And those sometimes can be like some of the easier decisions, right? Because we didn't lower our tolerance for pain. We didn't see the lion coming from way over there and say, I should probably go over here before, and this happens a lot of times with the horses. They kind of get on top of you, or they're like, hi, how are you? And even if they're just being friendly, you can be like, oh, holy crud, I have like 1,000-pound animal on, in my space. But if I had understood, one of the great examples of this is the Queen's Guard in England, where they're a mounted unit, and I want to say mostly for show. It's like a piece of historic history, but the people come up and say, big giant sign, like big sign engraved. It says, careful, beware, horses will bite, kick, do whatever horses do. And it's kind of funny to sit there and watch those guards, like, let those horses just like really about snap some people's ears off. So, and if you guys, those of you that know me well, know the story about the ears, but it's just like, they're right there. And like the sign says right there, beware, horse will bite, and the person standing there like this. And I've seen so many of these where the people are like trying to pet the horse, and the horse is like, gonna come at you, right? And I'm just like, oh, hi. It's like, hello, they're completely unaware, right? And there's that balance between having awareness and having hypervigilance, right? So there's a lot of little ingredients that go into into decisions. And here we go, Tony, love you, I'm quoting you again. It's in the moments of decisions that shape our destiny. And I want to take this down to the granular level, like, not these big decisions to, leave your husband or stay with your husband or get the job, don't take the job. I mean, like the little stuff. And this is where you can get real, really kind of lost in the sauce, right? So just having the ability to walk in and go, all right, that go, honey, pick up a pound of bacon. Pick up a pound of bacon, right? And knowing why you're getting that particular bacon versus the other, and without being in a rut. Well, just there's all these sort of things, right? And the rut is nothing but a shallow grave, and that rut is unconscious decisions based on old information. And a lot of times those things serve us, but what we also need to really do is and comes to number 2, is to do some self-reflection. At the end of the day, look back and ask yourself this very important question. Were the majority of the decisions that I made today habitual and pattern driven, or conscious and living in the present moment? Like, that's the big piece. Asking that at the end of the day. Can you even imagine at the end of the day, you look back through and say, what did I accomplish today? Who did I become today? No. Like, what decisions did I make that were intentional and what were patternistic? That's a word, expanded the English language. And then the last part of this is, and I'm just going to jump straight to it, is will what I decided today matter 5 to 10 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now, 1 to 3 years from now, 1 to 5 minutes from now, right? And that will help you do something called get clarity. Sorry, that was ridiculous, but it'll help you get clarity. It will help you get clarity about the multi-universe that we're living in, of like, if this decision, we're all of one of those choose your own adventure books, right? And I think about what would I have done, what would my life have looked like if, right, I'd gone to medical school, or I had gotten my degree in, marine biology at Duke University, whatever, right? So you want to make sure that you have clarity about the decisions that you're making in the present moment, going back to number two, right? And then, and celebrating with balloons, apparently. And then asking yourself, will this matter 5 minutes from now, 5 years from now? And so you can look back and go, because, Steve Jobs said it best, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going backwards. So looking at that and seeing, and then identifying the patterns that have in the past served you. And this is a good thing for self-reflection, but it's also a good thing to look at when you're talking to or about being in a relationship, whether it's professionally, personally, platonic, or intimate, doesn't matter, like what that looks like. So, to bring it all back home, it says, being intentional and conscious, and noticing whatever you're noticing that you feel like you need to make a change. In the horse world, it's called the flight line. The flight line of a horse. Do you have a long horse or do you have a short horse? Right. And that's kind of so interesting, because you're like, what's a flight line? But it's the same in humans too. We just need to look at horses as those, at that reflection. I have you guys, we have a lot of people that do masterminds, and I'm one of them. I lead a mastermind. I have a group coaching community that's like, we dial into these kind of things at a very deep level. Like, I wish I had Henry Ford, or, John D. Rockefeller, or, Gandhi, or, all these people in our masterminds. But man, you guys, I have the 5 best masterminding minds on the planet out in the backyard, with Trace, Dante, Maverick, Bella, Dante. Wait, I think I said Dante already. Tuesday. There it is. Tuesday. My God. Those guys are really just like who I tap into. And I'll go and I'll just have a little conversation with Tuesday. I know it sounds crazy, but horses have like this, they live in a theta brainwave state, right? And understanding, just having conversations with them, like in my, just being out there in the pasture and just sitting there and feeling their energy, right? And if you've ever anybody ever do muscle testing, David Hawkins, Power versus Force, right? Where he hold the apple, and you hold out your arm, you hold the apple and strong, and then you hold like the Coca-Cola or something that's not so awesome vibrationally wise, and your arm goes down. Muscle testing, it is a thing, right? And so tuning in with these horses is like a vibrational muscle testing beyond measure. And sometimes I'll just go out there and just walk around and ask the questions. I'll ask them questions. I'll say, Dante, what do you think? Should I do more retreats or mastermind? And that's why I gave them last year off. Like they were done. They needed some time off. They needed time off from doing these retreats. And so they got the year off. Well, Dante for the summer, they got most of the summer off, but now they're like, all right, we're bored. We're clean. We're good. Ready to get back to the gym. And I am too. So it's like, we're going to open up for the mastermind retreat bundles that I'm offering, and really some great things to understand. And I hope relationships, personally and professionally, and just having a deeper understanding of yourself and your soul. And horses can do that, but and they can, this is a little bit of a challenge, because I look at, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I have programs and testimonials and tons of social proof, worked with thousands of people, and, lots and lots and lots of horses over the years. And now there's like so many people out there going, oh, let's, come out and we'll just lay on a massage table and you'll feel better. It's going to, make a noise like a carrot, and it's awesome. And those of you that have been doing this, this is no criticism, but there is because I tell you, it's about the power that the horses have. but to have, somebody that can lead you through that process and understand and break it down. So when you do have those tough decisions, you can make them. I've had people like completely revamp their management teams. I've had people stay in their marriage, leave their marriage, get stronger connections with their partners and professional relationships. And it's really comes down to like the horse is noticing things and us understanding those things about ourselves and how to be intentional and conscious, aware, notice the patterns, have pattern recognition, and then ask ourselves, how important is this decision for me right now while I maintain my awareness and living in a very generous present moment? Whoa, could you get all that from a horse? Or, being around or learning from them. And that, during COVID, I was like, I couldn't do retreats, obviously. So I was like, oh, I wonder if this isn't going to work virtually. But it does, because it's about us. It's not about the horse. It's not about coming in here and like, smelling them or, pick up their poo. Although that deepens the experience, no doubt about it. But there's so much you can learn from for about decisions around this. It's like, it's mind blowing. So I hope that speaks to you. I hope you have a blessed rest of your afternoon and make your decisions with the 3 things I just shared with you and live a present and conscious life. Have an amazing rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you on the next one. Free Coaching Fridays, around the 1:00 hour on all of my channels and platforms. Make sure you're subscribing. I always forget to add that part. All right. Have a blessed day and believe in yourself. It will change your life. Take care. Bye.